Right, welcome to Real Opinions. Working title.
Working title.
Yeah,
please.
working title. We are going to run through our now top 10 of 2014. Now
We're counting, because some lists won't do this, but we're counting like the
Oscar
January,
movies
February
from last year.
films. the
Basically,
Oscar
films that have had a UK release in some
Yeah, so
way.
we're going by
UK
UK,
film release,
release.
Yeah, some of my ones have been festival movies as well.
Yeah, so you got some earlier.
Yeah. Right, so shall we begin?
Yeah.
With Jack, do you want to start actually?
Yeah,
Start
so
with
am I
you.
doing the whole 10 or
10 up until 6.
Yeah.
up until 6? Right, so number 10, I've got Dallas Buyers Club.
That's good, yeah.
9, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
8, 12 Years a Slave. 7, Grand Budapest Hotel. And 6, The Double.
That's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12 Years a Slave.
I forgot about Dallas
12
Buyers
Years
Club.
a Slave,
I forgot about that
I really enjoyed it at the time, and I feel bad for putting it in just because I haven't seen it in quite a while.
Yeah.
But I do remember.
I felt very cold and
Yeah,
different.
I get why people like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, me
because
too.
it's-
Yeah.
I admire it, but I really don't like
And I
it.
thought Michael Fassbender was
prefer.
Mm.
I definitely prefer Shame to 12
Me
Years
too.
a Slave.
Me
That's
too.
the thing.
I
I
do too.
prefer it, but I just don't get Steve McQueen. I don't get his work. I find him annoying.
I haven't seen The Hunger.
and I haven't seen Hunger.
I think
either,
some of his work I find annoying. Like just going off Shame for instance, the 2-minute shot of her singing, which is kind of pointless.
Yeah.
It's good in 12 Years a Slave when he does the long shot.
Well, they
he's
make
got
sense
that shot
because it's
of
about
him,
the sort of like...
hanging from the tree.
yeah, it's horrible and
yeah,
prolonged.
and
It's protracted
it's
to make
prolonged.
it... Yeah.
Like that does really well in that scene.
Yeah, that's true.
But,
I feel like I don't
It
know.
felt less like it was to be arty and more because it was in service
Yeah,
of
that-
what
that
it was
had a
showing.
purpose
It
there.
feels like a lot of his films specifically, he feels like in the same kind of breed as people like Michael Haneke, like these directors that a
yeah.
lot of critics adore, and I'm supposed to like,
Mm.
but I can't quite put my finger on why I don't like them. I just don't.
Well, for me, he works with Michael Fassbender a lot, and I really like Michael Fassbender. That helps.
He is. He did.
I
Help.
did think Michael Fassbender was the best part of 12 Years a Slave. Not because I sympathise with him, which sounds like that's what you were going to say.
Gonna say that
Oh,
at all.
doesn't matter then. But just because he's very good. He's very
He's
There's
good.
a lot of
incredible
secrets.
actor. And it's worth putting out there that Chiwetel Ejiofor, I don't think he's ever really been in a lead performance before. He's always
No,
very much that
no.
guy in the
Yeah, he's-
background,
yeah.
and he's really incredible in
Yeah.
12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, I don't think he was good enough to win the best actor.
No,
Neither.
he was worth the
Yeah,
nomination.
but he was
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
worth the nomination. Yeah.
So what else do you have? I know your Dallas Buyers Club, and you have Grand Budapest.
And the Grand Budapest and Guardians, which
Guardians.
when we did the original talk before, it sounded like I didn't like it as much.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
got
just
that,
it's just it's my favourite fun film of the year.
There you go.
Yeah, that's just
There you
about
go.
covers most of my list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harrison, what
Me
about
next.
you?
Okay. I'll do my honourable mentions later because I have to mention them. But at 10, I have Paddington, which I really
It's gone
did.
down
I
to
did.
10.
It's gone down to 10.
It went
but
from 9 to 8 and now
10.
back to 10.
I've now fixed its place, but I'm surprised it was there in the first place.
Mhm.
9, I have Guardians. Then I have at 8, The Raid 2. Then The Wolf of Wall Street at 7, which I forgot about until we talked about Oscar films. And then at 6, I have Days of Future Past, which honestly was the one I thought was going to be number 1. So
You
There
thought
you
it was
go.
going to be number one.
I thought, yeah, because I'm a fanboy.
Oh,
so
yeah.
not on the
And
objective level.
As far as X-Men movies go, I think it's probably one of the best, if not the best.
It's my third
I think-
favourite.
Really?
Oh, I
yeah,
think it's the
Behind
best
X2 and
X-Men.
First Class.
Yeah.
I have too
Yeah.
many problems with First Class.
I know you do.
That's my
But you like X2, right?
I love
Yeah,
X2.
good.
I really love X2. What else? Paddington. I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
so
they
I'm
made it
so
into the
surprised
top
that
10.
it's so cute.
I really, really
It's so
liked it, and
cute.
it is really cute. But I don't
Yeah.
know if I'd put it in a top 10.
And I have no attachment to.
Yeah, you
I've
never even saw the character when you were
No.
young.
So not
So-
like when you reached for the marmalade, you didn't like have a single tear of childhood.
I did, but for a childhood that I didn't even have. That's how
Oh.
effective it is.
That just makes it sound like you just didn't have a child.
You were abused as a kid. It's all coming out now.
The Wolf of Wall Street,
Yeah.
because I really like Scorsese, and it felt like a proper Scorsese
Yeah,
film.
it was really. It was
very
really
Scorsese.
possibly
Swearing.
one of the funnest films he's ever made. as
It was
well.
Yeah.
definitely a fun film.
And it was really
but,
kind of
yeah.
big and grand and sort of a very bold film.
And it's arguing. I mean, I understand why it didn't win the Oscar.
Yeah, oh yeah, I do.
But Leo DiCaprio, I think that's the best he's been.
Yeah.
Ever.
And then
Alongside Django, maybe.
The Raid 2,
Oh,
because
Django, Django.
The Raid 2 was stunning.
Yeah.
I don't need to justify The Raid 2.
You don't need to justify the Raid 2.
And Guardians, I also think is fun.
You don't need to justify that either. Alright, I guess my 10. Start with 10. Snowpiercer, which I know is a
I'm
bit of an
jealous.
iffy
I
one.
want to see that.
Yeah, it's a bit of an iffy one because it hasn't hasn't had a decent release here, but it's
out. Anyone could watch it.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere. You can find it. The Lego Movie.
Honourable mention on
Ooh, I
mine.
forgot about that.
That's my honourable mention.
Locke, Tom Hardy in Locke.
Very good.
The Raid 2 again, and a film that technically doesn't come out here till January, but I saw it at London Film Festival. Whiplash.
I'm very excited to see
number 6,
Whiplash.
which
Yeah,
is I feel I feel bad
it's
putting it
just-
at number 6 because it is such an incredibly well made film.
There's
And
so
it's-
many things that I felt bad for just excluding.
Like
in the
it's
first place,
one of
so.
the few films I would call perfect. Like
Yeah.
I don't, actually, there's probably one thing that I don't like so much about it, but I won't
I
spoil
can't,
it.
no,
because
okay, it's a spoiler thing.
Yeah,
Without
it is-
kind
it
of
is a
spoilers,
spoiler.
the
It's
main
in
thing
the trailer,
I've read in
but-
all the reviews is just that they're saying like it's one of the best third acts of a film.
Yes.
Like yeah,
The
and I'm
finale
really excited
is
just to.
the finale. It kind of like takes on this whole persona of being kind of a musical, but an instrumental musical. And there's all these kind of dramatic crescendos, but they keep building on top of each other. So like things will happen. You think, wow, that's crazy. How the hell are they going to top that? And somehow they like double it. And by the end, it's 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure I could have held my breath for the whole 10 minutes. It's. I mean, I wasn't expecting to love it nearly as much as I did. So.
Actually, I don't even know who the director is for that. Like if
Damien Chazelle. He hasn't. It's his directorial debut.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So he's definitely like on
He's
a good
written
roll
a
then.
few films. I don't know. Did you guys see Grand Piano this year as well?
No.
Oh
With
no!
Elijah Wood in it.
Oh no! He
wrote-
actually directed that as well.
He
didn't
wrote that. He didn't direct
Oh.
it. He wrote it, which seems strange because it's such a different film. It's basically like one of these kind of
About
crummy
music.
Yeah, it's like a
Yes,
crummy
yeah, it's very
DVD,
musical,
like
obviously.
straight to DVD action movie with John
Yeah.
Cusack in it. A bit Hitchcockian, but
Mm.
but yeah, he wrote that, and that's a lot good. He writes. I think everything he's written has been involved with music in some way. So
Was that your whole list? I can't remember what you got it to.
yeah, that
Yeah,
that was my
that's
number
number
6.
Great.
So, should we?
Are there any
dive-
others you want to talk about in that before we
I
move on?
kind of want to mention Snowpiercer just because it's. I mean, it got so much acclaim when it came out in America, and there was that big thing about Harvey Weinstein wanting to cut it down, but I can assure that it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
There's nothing even slight. I mean, I get why, because he wants to go for the lowest common denominator, like, but there's so much like great stuff that he would have cut out. As an action movie, it's incredible. As a science fiction movie, it's incredible. I mean, the acting is kind of a little bit. I mean, it's intense. It's a little bit toned down, but the action kind of takes over it. I mean, I watched this with one of my friends, and he found this really weird. Like,
Is it made by the guy who made The Host?
yes,
I like The
Yeah,
Host.
yeah.
yes, the Korean guy who made the host, and there are a few
Not the American
strange-
Yeah,
one.
no, I don't
the
like
Korean
that
monster
host.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are a few scenes in it which are a little bit strange. Like there's a part. Like, the whole idea of it is that like life is now living on this train because it's a dystopian
Oh.
world where everything outside has become frozen, and kind of Chris Evans leads this. Like the lower class live at the back of the train, and the kind of upper class live at the front. And Chris Evans leads like a peasants' revolt and tries to take back the front of the train. And they kind of go like carriage to carriage. And there is literally a bit where a carriage door opens and there's a bunch of guys standing there in balaclavas, and one of them takes an axe and just cuts a giant fish down the middle.
Just because.
Don't know why, but it happens. And I mean, stuff like that happens every now and again. But for the most part, it's incredibly surprising. There's loads of twists, and it's.
When you see like they're going through carriage to carriage, is that kind of like the
Raid. Like the,
I was going to
the
say like the
Bible.
Die Hard like Dread kind of thing where it's like they're
Similar.
making
That's-
progress.
Yeah, that's what
that's
the raid is,
that's
like,
special.
Oh
by
yeah,
floor
sorry, I
of the-
completely forgot
Yeah,
about that.
that's especially
I
the
thought you meant Raid
first
2.
half.
I was thinking-
The first half is very much like that, but as it goes on, as more gets revealed and the characters
okay.
kind of come into their own a bit more,
It's good that they can branch off from the basic
Yeah.
structure. Yeah.
It's an incredible film. So I hope it gets released because it needs to be seen by more people.
Number 5, Gone Girl.
Yep.
4, Interstellar, which I didn't think would be that high.
Yep.
3, Boyhood. 2, Under the Skin, and 1, Her. So
Quite a lot of
Quite
those are in my
divided.
five as well.
But I feel like I'm going to end up arguing with some of you people, especially
Wh-
with
which
American.
which ones do you argue with?
What's wrong
Her.
with her?
Her
I
is
was-
one of the few films that I can look at and I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
Which-
me too actually.
I just watched
seen
it
it.
and felt really cold and indifferent to what happened to any of them, and I didn't like the characters.
You
And
have no emotions.
I do have emotions though.
Speaking of the
because-
RoboCop,
But I didn't care, and I thought the use of the music was really like, ooh, we're hip. cool.
That's who Spike Jones
The
is.
music.
though.
I was thinking about the music the other day, and I want to write an essay just on the music in the film because it's so like.
Hip.
If you
It's so
no,
hip.
if you read in like if you listen to it properly, it's so clever how they do some of the score. Just it's so clever.
It's so
The whole
intuitive
film,
as well.
like,
It feels like it's an out and out romance movie put into a kind of sci-fi.
Yeah.
utopian
I did like it.
context.
I just don't
Yeah.
think it's. I think it's overrated. I did like it. I did like it. Don't hit me.
I'm not gonna hit.
I
you.
I thought it was really
Mm.
hipstery, and I don't get along with hipstery
I know.
stuff.
There are so many parts of this film though that are just so. It's one of the few films that, especially this year, that I'd call beautiful.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
really.
it looked nice.
Yeah, I
I
don't
agree.
like using that term to
but it's
describe
beautiful
films,
in all
but-
senses of the word.
Yeah,
I suppose,
in the fact
It's
that
beautiful visually.
It's visually beautiful.
the other things.
like auditory, it's beautiful through the sound, and it's beautiful in terms of it's just so intuitive in terms of romance and
Yeah.
relationships
Mm.
and love.
I think I have a problem with sort of romance films that are about problems that aren't real problems. They're problems that people who have no real problems have. So they
What?
make
you
up
saying
for-
romance isn't a real
no,
problem?
No. But the problems that people have in things like Her are problems that people who don't have real problems, who have time to make problems of things that aren't problems have. These aren't proper relationship problems. Deal with your shit.
So you don't like it because they're not dealing with murder or poverty, or
Well,
they're just dealing with their
they are
relationship.
bigger issues, but I mean that sometimes I'm not saying I'm not looking particularly in say Her, but there are some of these like films that you like that are relationship films where
Films that you like.
like
All
you
my favourite films are relationship
No,
films.
but
It
it's
makes me
not.
sound like
It's, no, but it's not. The problem isn't that I don't like love stories or anything. I just don't like. There's this sort of modern thing. It's like from the last 5 years there are films about relationships where people are complaining that relationships aren't like fairy tales, but their problems are just problems that you just deal with them. They're not problems. They're just everyday things. Except that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
See, but I'm thinking that with Her, and I don't see how it's like they're blown out of proportion because
Yeah,
they're just
I
like
thought it was quite real.
yeah.
Not. Well, if you think that's real, you have problems.
Examples from Her. Examples from Her. I want examples from Her, Harrison.
No, it's not my.
Of one of
Burden
these
of
little
proof is not on me.
problems.
You
But-
prove that it is real, and I will
But
retort.
it's just about the whole thing with like, although they take a computer, which is the unrealistic.
My
well,
problem.
not
No,
unrealistic,
that's not the
maybe,
problem though.
But
That's not.
and because they're just
I
using
can
this
accept
whole
that.
great plot of the thing to bring down to what happens when you're in a relationship, but you're slowly disconnecting
Why are you disconnecting?
because you're just growing apart.
Why?
She's growing, and she's literally like they say throughout
That's
the entire
her
film,
being-
she's evolving, which people do as well.
Mm.
And it's just how they're
I
growing
don't know.
from.
I just
they grow
think
to love
people
each
should
other, and then they grow
Love
apart.
each other and then stay with each other forever, and
But the fact
regardless of whether they drift
it's-
apart,
that is
just
kind of-
stay.
So Harrison
Just-
hates the film because of denial.
It's
Yeah.
played alongside his divorce as well, though. That's a
Yeah,
key
yeah,
part.
See,
exactly.
that's
And so
part. That see, he's
and
getting
it's talking
divorced. He
about
just
how-
can't. He can't man up and just.
Okay, can we move on? Because I feel like I'm going
I have
start,
to. I feel like I have to defend it because it's
start
yeah,
setting,
second
things,
favorite
setting
film.
people on fire.
Yeah, you have none your top five.
Yeah, what's your top?
Oh no! What else did you have in yours? I can't remember.
It
Boyhood
was-
was in there, wasn't
Boyhood was in there just because
it? Which I
I
feel
thought
like
you didn't like Boyhood. That
I
much.
thought I didn't like it, and then I watched it a second time,
it's
Yeah.
one of
and
those films I really
stuck
admire.
in my head.
I admire
it's-
it, but I don't think.
And I was thinking
like
about it, and
I
I
love
read some more reviews online, and they're just people keep saying about what relates to them, and it's amazing how it's this one film that just follows one boy in Texas's like childhood, and it relates to so many different
Yeah.
people. I
Mm.
mean, even people that weren't born in that generation, even it just. And then it also like people complain that like the second half of the film gets boring and things like that, but it's important parts in his life,
Yeah.
which I thought was quite interesting.
I
just
thought
because
it kind of it cut to another time zone before it ever did get boring. So I think
I didn't find it got boring,
Yeah,
but the
I
critics
think-
said it.
Yeah,
got
a lot of the time people were kind of picking on it because not a lot happened. It's literally just a
Yeah,
kid
but
growing
it's-
up.
Do you
But
think-
it was
I
realistic.
found that quite fascinating.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it will be best film?
I don't know
it's a
if it'll-
contender
Yeah.
just because I didn't think it was going to be that